And now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump announced yesterday that he will address the nation on Thursday night. It'll be so nice to finally get a chance to hear what's on his mind. That's right, President Trump announced he will deliver an address to the nation on Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You know, I used to dread these addresses, but it could be literally anything from we're bombing Cuba to I'm gonna glue some more crap to the White House. President Trump held an event yesterday promoting the upcoming IndyCar race through Washington, D.C., and walked out to the song Eye of the Tiger. Ah, yes, the song famously associated with the sport of IndyCar racing. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump said that the Strait of Hormuz is open, with or without Iran, and added, quote, the USA will be, from this point forward, known as the guardian of the Hormuz Strait. And if there's one thing the rest of the world can trust us to do, it's protect a body of water. Just a little one, like that deep. The Secret Service has begun making security-focused upgrades to fortify the White House front door. Okay, but she's still gonna find a way to get out. How'd you get out this time? The window! After President Trump said that Fox and Friends co-host Ainsley Earhardt should have told him that being president was a dangerous job, Earhardt said in an interview yesterday that, quote, well, we have you covered in prayer. I'll say that most of America is praying for you. Oh, I don't know. Praying about you, sure. During a recent appearance on Second Lady Usha Vance's Literacy podcast, President Trump said that he'd like to ride horses like Abraham Lincoln, but would be afraid to fall off. So, no, he doesn't know what literacy means. But do you have a good summer book suggestion? I don't, but I have some thoughts about horses. The makers of M&M's have announced that they will offer a version of the candy that is made without artificial dyes. Okay, but I don't think anyone is gonna like the color they are when they're picked. I didn't know how that was going to go, but I wanted to see the picture. So we had to all go through it, and it was real fun to see what they look like when they come up. A couple in Brazil recently attempted to break a Guinness World Record by kissing 195 times in 30 seconds, besting the previous record holder, any Italian grandmother. A highway in Connecticut was recently closed for several hours after a truck spilled thousands of cans of Michelob Ultra. Said beer lovers, that's fine. And finally, a bear in Tibet recently broke into an occupied hotel room and sadly had his suspicions confirmed. Look at that one. That's an A+. Look at that graphic. Woo. You know what, though? If I was one of those bear spouses and saw that, I'd be like, those two are supposed to be together. I'm just saying, look how happy they look. You'd be like, you know what? You found who you're supposed to be with. Feel like I took the air out of that joke, but that's... I don't care. If I saw that, I'd be like, be with them. We've got a great show for you tonight. She's a multi-talented actress, comedian, author. You know her from Saturday Night Live, The White Lotus, and Only Murders in the Building. Currently, she's starring in The Hawk, which premieres July 16th on Netflix. The one, the only, Molly Shannon is here. Right here. You know him from Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, and shows like Minx and New Girl. He's starring in The Dink, which premieres globally on Apple TV July 24th. Jake Johnson is also going to be here. Always love talking to Jake. Family trips, W. Kamau Bell, a great conversation. Give it a listen. Moving on, here at Late Night, we don't always have enough time to cover all of the recent news. So here with the recap is one of our writers, Amber Ruffin, in a segment we call Amber Says What?
crazy. Okay, so first of all, the World Cup is going on and everything is hilarious. These Europeans got to this country, hated it. They saw our dirty streets and were like, what? They saw our constant police presence and were like, what? But then they saw our food and were like, what? Now, you listen to me, Europeans. Yes, everything is a little filthy. Yes, our police are scary, but one thing you can't beat us at is food. These people were out here losing their minds at some dang Chili's. Wait till you get to the Cheesecake Factory. You're gonna wanna move here. Now, will you live as long? No. But why would you want to? Everything's filthy, police everywhere. You might as well drink a gallon of Coke with your king-size pizza burger. It's the American way. Then I heard Zendaya and Tom Holland secretly got married, and I was like, what? And that wasn't the only celebrity wedding. Am I right, Seth? Seth, look at me. Were you at that wedding? Seth, if you were there legally, you have to tell me about it. Were you the ring bearer? The flower girl? The person who stands up and objects? Will you tell me about the wedding off camera? Why not? I'm only gonna tell everybody I know instantly. Then Trump had the reflecting pool in D.C. repainted, and I was like, what? Then I heard the painting company charged way too much money, and I was like, what? Then the paint started peeling and the water turned green, and I was like, what? Let me get this straight. You hired people, overpaid them, and they did a bad job. Who did you get? You? A dating platform for anti-vaxxers called Unjected. I was like, what are you trying to do? Get literally ghosted? I'm up into a short-term relationship or a long-term relationship cut short by smallpox. Then people online were accusing Charlize Theron of getting bad plastic surgery, and I was like, what? Then she responded by being like, bitch, I'm just aging. Sorry, her exact words were, bitch, I'm just aging. She really said it. Yeah. And I was like, what a good example of growing older gracefully, Seth.
What?
Tell me about the wedding!
No.
Then one of the most important things in the whole world happened. It's gonna take a while to explain, so I'm gonna talk double time. A million years ago on the show Hot Ones, the host, Sean Evans, had Keke Palmer on as his guest, and they had a great show. Everyone was like, what? Later, Sean Evans was on Amelia de Moldenberg's show, Chicken Shop Date, and she goes, have you ever had a crush on a guest? And he goes, yes. And she goes, who? And he goes, Keke Palmer. And the whole internet was like, what? So then Keke Palmer goes back on Hot Ones and is like, I heard about what you said about me, so let's test it out with a kiss. And they did, and everyone was like, what? Then he was on Keke's podcast, and they flirted. And then it happened. The two were caught out together, and when Keke was asked about it, she said they are hanging out. And we were like, what? Yes! It's the greatest love story of all time. Do you know how much chemistry you have to have with someone to fall in love while both of y'all have hot sauce breath? So then I heard the Knicks won the championship, and I was like, what? What? Because when I say I heard it, I mean I heard it. I was not there. I was not at a watch party. I was in my home, and the noise it made me get up out of bed. People were cheering so loud, I thought Barack Obama had won again. Then I heard that there's this new parasite going around called Cyclospora, and that it's giving everybody diarrhea. And I was like, what? Well, that must be what I have. Because it can't be because the Enchilito is back at Taco Bell, and there's a new Taco Bell right by my place, and I keep going there whenever I leave or come home. That sweet Enchilito smell grabs me by the nose like a cartoon, and I float right in and say, give me a baker's dozen. Then a couple climbed the Empire State Building and got engaged at the top, and I was like, what? You know, when people do wild stuff, then of course they got arrested. I was like, what? But then their lawyer was the single goofiest man on the planet. You gotta see this, watch.
They're not violent people whatsoever. Now, with that being said, obviously it's a concern, right? Because it's a concern for security. So what I want to see is what evidence there is with respect to how this happened, and if and then if depending on that, really it would be great for all of New York if in the future that we could prevent these types of activities, because obviously for the national security and all those aspects.
What? That was the verbal equivalent of falling downstairs. What did you use to write that speech? Lawyer Mad Libs? Whose headphones are those? Your stepdaughter's? And is that a terrarium behind you? Are you on national TV with your lizard? Then this interview became the best thing that ever happened in the world when the reporter hit him with one of these.
Our producer, Tanya, she speaks Russian, and she was able to get a hold of Ivan's father. Ivan's dad says that they're already married and that this was just a performance.
I have not heard anything with respect to that.
What? Have you met your clients? You are so bad at this. Oh my God, this guy, Seth, was he at Taylor Swift's wedding?
No, he wasn't.
You talked about it! You talked about it! This has been Amber Says What?